Pai nosso, que estás no céu, santificado seja o vosso nome. Venha a nós o vosso reino, seja feita a vossa vontade, assim na terra como no céu, assim na terra como no céu. O pão nosso de cada dia dai-nos hoje, ó Senhor. Perdoai as nossas dívidas, assim como perdoamos aos nossos devedores. Não deixeis cair em tentação, mas livrai-nos de todo o mal. Não deixeis cair em tentação, mas livrai-nos de todo o mal.
Good morning, everyone. We are here once again for another series of talks promoted by the United States Spiritist Federation. Today, we are very happy to have our dear friend, Alexandre Caldini, that is going to give a talk to us on the subject death according to Spiritism. We have decided that this is a very important talk for us to be disseminating nowadays because of all the struggles we are going through in our planet, many people losing their loved ones, and you will see that Alexandre Caldini will bring to us many different perspectives so that it will appease our hearts and give us understanding on this subject. Alexandre Caldini has studied Kardec for more than 30 years, and he attends and was president of the Núcleo 22 of September 22 Center in Pinheiro, São Paulo, where he is a speaker. Alexandre also published 3 books in English on Spiritism, not in English yet. Spiritism, A Guide for Beginners by Bella Publisher, Death According to Spiritism by Sextant Publisher, Life According to Spiritism by Sextant Publisher as well. Professionally, he was president of Editora Abril and Valor Econômico from 2012 to 2016. But before we give Alexander the opportunity to talk to us, we are going to do a short prayer just to put us, connect us with the good spirits that we are always sure that are here with us. So we ask everyone to lift their hearts and their thoughts, connecting with the spirit's benefactors that for sure are surrounding us in order to protect us and to guide us even better to understand and to bring to our hearts all the teachings we are about to receive. We pray as well for our guest speaker today so that he can be inspired and guided in his talk and to bring us words of consolation and renewal. And with that in mind, we start our meeting. So that's it. We are going to give the word now to Alex. I've been here dealing with Alexandre. So Alex, it's with you now. Thank you very much for being here with us today.
Great pleasure, great honor, Jussara. Thank you so much for you, João, Danielle, all the people from the US Spiritist Federation. I'm a fan of your work in the US. I've been with you there a couple of times. We've been together here in Brazil. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm very happy and glad to be with the Americas, with anywhere elsewhere. Well, friends, we'll talk today about, as Jussara said, about death. Death in a specific view, the view of Spiritism. Once I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Spiritism, I'll just say a brief word about Spiritism. Spiritism was created, was the science of Spiritism, the philosophy of Spiritism was put together in the 19th century in France by the French intellectual, French professor, Allan Kardec. By mid of the 19th century, 1860 or so, he started to get interested on the communication between spirits and the so-called living ones. And he started questioning them about a whole lot of things, about just about everything in life. And after doing so with different mediums, different people, he started to write some books about it. And this is what we're going to be talking today. I took my studies of Kardec, and specifically today on how does the Spiritism sees death? How does the spirituality explains death to us? Why did I write a book about that, Jussara and friends? Because I saw some friends of mine, people who used to work with me, suffering very hardly with the death of their loved ones. Specifically, a friend of mine, and her son passed away at the age of 19 in a car crash. And she was totally desperate, of course. And I thought, well, maybe if I write a book, maybe Spiritism can explain better death so people will be more consolated, as Jussara said. So I hope this is of some help to you. And let me tell you something. If you have any comments, disagreements, examples, or questions, please do put on the chat. I don't see you, I don't see the chat, but Jussara, João, Daniel, they're over there. At the end, if we have some time, then we can discuss a little bit, okay? So starting. Oh, sorry, life. No, we're supposed to talk about death. No, because, of course, talking about death, you have to talk about life prior to that. To understand death, you have to understand a little bit of life. So how is life in the perspective of Spiritism? Question is, when life really begins? When life really ends? Or better saying, does life ever end? How does Spiritism see it? Well, we are, in Spiritism, we are what we call reincarnationists. And the interesting thing is, the majority of the population on Earth, we are almost, 8 billion people, right? The vast majority are reincarnationists, meaning that they believe that we don't have just one single experience. We have many, quote unquote, lives. So we keep coming back, and we'll see why is that. So we are reincarnationists. So for us, the spirit is the beginning of life is not when you reincarnate, it's when God creates the spirit. And when is that? Spiritism says that God is creating spirits all the time, forever, since ever. And then the question comes, but if God is creating so many spirits, does it fit on Earth? We're already 8 billion people. How many more are coming? No, we're going to see in a while. We don't incarnate only on Earth. We incarnate also on other places. But the important thing to know now is that life for us, Spiritists, begin when God creates the spirit. And after the creation of the spirit, we start reincarnating. So for the average person, the life starts when a baby comes through, when a baby starts its life, when the first time you breathe, right? In that sense, if we consider just this life, when you're living on Earth, on your experience at this time on Earth, for us, the spirit is the beginning of this life, or in other words, the beginning of reincarnation is when the sperm and the ovule get together. Since that time, there's a spirit linked to that body. So that has some consequences on abortion. We're going to be talking about abortion in a little while. But the important thing is to know, life on Earth starts when the two cells get together. The male cell, the female cell, from then on, starts the reincarnation. If you go in one of the books of Kardec, The Gospel According to Spiritism, on chapter 4, it talks about reincarnation. It says, no one can see, Jesus is supposed to have said that, right? No one can see the kingdom of God unless he's born again. You should not be surprised at my saying, you must be born again. Maybe Jesus was already saying something there. Was saying, well, there is new life coming all the time. You reborn and reborn and reborn again and again and again and again. And the interesting thing here as well is to see who is God, who is Jesus for us? Jesus for the Spiritists is not God. We don't mix the two things. Jesus is a spirit very, 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 very well developed, much more than us, but he was a spirit just like us. But as time passes, with a lot of reincarnations, a lot of hard work, he became that superior type of spirit. And he, at that time, already said something about reincarnation. But why do we have to reincarnate? Can't we, if the spirits, on the reincarnation, Spiritism says the following: we as spirits, when God creates us, we're created simple and ignorant, meaning not good, not bad. From then on, we start moving, always forward, never backwards. We always move forward in two curves, for the matter of saying. We evolve morally and we evolve intellectually, and we have to evolve both mentally and morally. So if that is so, why do we have to reincarnate? Because when we come to Earth, or when we reincarnate, life is much tougher. And then we have to develop our minds. Take a look at this picture. For example, the guy is having trouble there, perhaps with his college examinations or something, or perhaps with his girlfriend or boyfriend, or perhaps with the family or the job or whatever. When we're here, we have to provide ourselves with shelter, food. We have to deal with all the relationships among the family, which is not easy, among the people at the place we work. We are citizens, we have to deal with politics, we see crime, we see violence, we see social injustice. So there's plenty of stimulus for us. We have to deal with all this. We have to solve all this trouble, all these problems. When we're solving these problems, we speed up our process of evolution. We become wiser as time passes because we are knowing more and more things. We use our minds to get rid of these problems, then we grow again, morally and intellectually. That's why we have to reincarnate. The reincarnation is a boost, let's say. It speeds up the process of evolution. When we reincarnate in a family, right? You are in your family, I'm in my family, and let me tell you something. There was no mistake. The stork didn't drop you on the wrong family. The family you are is the family you belong. Is the family you should be, always. Oh, if you're not born there, if you say you're adopted, or if you're living with your grandpa and grandma or relatives or whatever, still, these people are your family. In reincarnation, if take a look before we go forward on family. If we're reincarnating, means that we were here before, right? So we are part actually of the history of humankind. What about our history? Is it a nice, beautiful, soft, and mild history? Not at all. If you pay attention to just go to one of those series, go to Netflix and watch a series from the medieval era, for example. How did we act? We were a tribe or a city or a country, doesn't matter. And then we decide to, invade the other tribe, the other city, the other country. Once we invade, we do very nice things. We imprisonate people there. We torture them. We rape them. We make them slaves. And we kill them, right? That's the history of humankind. That's what we've been doing forever. During that process, we certainly, our relationship with many people was damaged. And we have to recover that. We have to evolve on that relationship as well. That's why we come in a family. That's why you are in your family. Very often we are in a family and we don't go along very well with some of the members of the family. Why? Because there is a past behind us. And maybe we did something bad to that person or vice versa. And then we are together again inside the four walls to try to understand one to each other, to try to cope with each other, to try to solve our problems. That's why we come in a family. I would say the family is probably the best and the number one laboratory for us to develop our souls, to develop ourselves. Because there on the daily activities, we have to understand the other. We have to cope with the other one. So in the Gospel according to Spiritism, it says, God allows in families these incarnations of antagonistic or extraneous spirits with the double aim of serving as a test for some and as a means of advantage for others. Meaning, some people are learning in that family. Some people are teaching that family, but don't fool yourself. We're all not so good. We all have problems one to each other, right? So there's a good tip here. Jesus supposedly said, it's not the ones who are healthy that need doctors. That's a good tip for us. So we should pay more attention to that person in our family, which is really tough. With that person, we should act more precisely, right? Care. Take a look at this picture. The couple is receiving a baby. They're all very, very happy. That's a start of a new relationship between those three spirits and more, the other ones around as well. That's the beauty of reincarnation. This baby is not a baby, it's a spirit, as well as the mother, as well as the father. But this spirit comes back again as a very small, cute, nice, fluffy baby that everyone loves it. It's totally helpless. You have to provide food, you have to provide care, you have to provide shelter, everything for the baby. What we don't see in the pictures is that perhaps the baby and the couple, they maybe are enemies. Maybe in the last incarnation, they say, for example, one of them was the partner of the other one and stole the whole money from the company and killed this person. Now they come back again to try to cope one with each other. That's the beauty of the thing. Not all families have problems, of course. Many spirits have already developed to a certain level that they come together to join and to help others without any problem to one to each other. That also happens. So, concerning care, it says on the Gospel according to Spiritism, in this way, less enlightened spirits have a chance to prove themselves by living among more evolved ones and benefiting from the affectionate care they receive. So through love, we change. Their character is softened, their habits and manners are purified, and aversions are effaced. It is thus that the solidarity among different orders of spirits is established. So solidarity is what we want. Getting together, love each other. That's the only thing. When you think about living, after we die, there's basically 4 alternatives. See if you agree with that. First one, once we die, there's nothing. This is the only life. Many people believe that. And once you die, you're dead. It's over, finished. There's nothing else. That's one way of seeing. Second is, once you die, you're fully absorbed again into a universal whole. So you don't keep your individuality. You're back to a whole thing, everyone together. Third one is, believes that you keep the individual experience, but then you have a fixed destination. Either go to hell or go to heaven. We're going to discuss that as well. Sorry. And the fourth one, which is what Spiritism believes, is there is an individual experience, but always progressing. Take a look at that. In the first 2, family members will never meet again, because if there's nothing, you're dead, over. You're never going to meet again your loved ones, your children, your spouse, your parents, never, ever. Second one as well, you're nothing, you just became back to the mess. On the third one, you might meet the other one, as long as both of you go to heaven or both of you go to hell. Doesn't make much sense, does it? Imagine, for example, a mother that loves a lot her children, and she's so good, she goes to heaven. And then her children go to hell because they're not good at all. So after one single incarnation, say 80-something years, 100 years, 30 years, 12 years perhaps, only after that short period of time, everything is decided. And then the mother goes to heaven, and she's going to be happy ever, forever and ever, knowing that her children that she loves are down on hell, suffering forever and ever. It doesn't make much sense, does it? And the last one, which is the one Spiritism believes, says the relationship among the loved ones are kept. Why? Because we keep coming back together. So maybe if you're married, your spouse nowadays was your father at the other incarnation, or was your child, or was a very good friend, whatever. Nah? So you keep coming back together to act either in the good of themselves or acting in the good of everyone else. So I would say that basically, if you compare, there's 2 ways of seeing our life, or our life forever, our life after we die. There's the fixed destiny. I would say it's written by pen. Once you've written, it's there. You're never going to be able to change. There's no way you can erase. There's no way you can correct yourself. Done, forever. Second, which is the reincarnation one, again, which majority of the population on Earth, due to the Asian population, which is really big, they're all basically reincarnationists. This population believes that it's like if you're writing on a pencil, you can erase, you write again. Oh, no, this is a mistake. Let me cross it, let me erase and write again. So it's eternally you have new opportunities. If you believe in God, let's suppose God exists. Spiritism define God as the huge intelligence, the supreme intelligence, primary cause of everything. That's the way Spiritism defines God. It's not a person, doesn't have the passions of a person, is a supreme intelligence, period. This supreme intelligence, because it's the supreme one, cannot make a mistake. Which one of the two alternatives do you think is more in line with ever-caring intelligence? I believe it's reincarnation, right? Let's talk about the addresses. Where do we go? There's different words. Spiritism says the following: you don't live only on Earth. There's plenty of places on the universe you can be reincarnated on. So there's what they call the primitive worlds. Primitive worlds are where spirits like yourself, myself, started the reincarnation process. That's where we started our improvement process. Basically, at that stage, we're not much more than wild animals. We cared about food. We care about reproduction. So basically, we are violent. We kill other people. We protect ourselves. That's the way we do. We're just very basic, very brutal still. Second type is world of trials and atonements. In this world, far away from being developed yet, the majority of the spirits are very yet underdeveloped, let's put it this way. And we're there either for trials. Trials when you ask the spirits to say, well, let me try to be real poor to see how it's to live as a poor person. Or let me try to live as a rich person to see how it is to have money, if I can deal properly with money, if I can use my richness properly. And atonements is when you come back to clean some mess that you have done in the past. Examples I have given already. Let's say that I've raped and killed some people, then I come back with them to put my love in service of these people to recover this relationship. The other type of words is regeneration. What is this? It's a word that's not perfect yet, but the majority of the spirits who are there are already willing to do good. They're trying hard to be good people. They're trying to take away from them all the things that are no good for us any longer. Say greed, jealousy, hate, violence, gossiping, all these things that really hold us down. In this kind of world, they're not there anymore. Blissful worlds, better spirits is still much better. That's basically spirits who are very developed already. And the top one, which is celestial or divine worlds. Very, it's a place saved for the ones who are really high up, like Jesus and others of his type of development. So what Spiritism says is the planets, they also evolve. Like we as spirits evolve, also the planets evolve. Earth is evolving now. It's coming from one stage to the other stage. Question to you, where do you think the Earth is? Primitive world, world of trials and atonements, world of regeneration, blissful worlds, or celestial world? The answer is, Chan, we are a world of trials and atonements. That's why life is so tough here. We are surrounded by violence, we're surrounded by poverty, we're surrounded by misery, we're surrounded by hunger, because this is a very tough world. And we, people who are incarnating here, we are still far away from development. So we have to really take this opportunity to try hard to improve ourselves. Once we improve, we might go to a better world. We might reincarnate in another place, which is not Earth, which is more mild. We're going, the name says, we're going to regenerate ourselves. We're going to try to heal ourselves, to try to become even better people. But the thing is, the other way around can go as well. Remember, spirits do not come back. I mean, they always evolve. They never go back on the scale of evolution. But they can, if they're not committed, if we are not committed to our development, again, morally and intellectually, after many chances, after many reincarnations, we might not have the chance anymore to be here. We might go down to more primitive worlds. They say, well, Paul, you've been reincarnating a lot. We've been giving you a lot of opportunities, but you're not really taking advantage of it. You just want to do everything for yourself. You're very selfish. You're very violent. You don't really pay attention to the people around you. You're doing no good to anyone. So you know what? Enough. You're not going to reincarnate here anymore. You're going to a more underdeveloped world. There you're going to be one of the best ones. Imagine how this world is. And you're going to help that world to become a better world. When you become better, you might come back, but not now. It's just like a school. If you're not studying it, people are telling you better study, and your colleagues in the classroom, they're studying, they're moving forward, they're going to graduate, they're really sharp, but you're not. The director of the school comes to you and say, listen, not anymore. You're going to move to a less, a worse school, a not as good school. If you don't believe we might incarnate in other worlds, it says, that's not true. I mean, there's only life on Earth. I mean, the Hubble never proves life anywhere. We're searching the universe. Are we searching the universe? We barely start going on the other planet, real close. I mean, not even there. We're far away from knowing the universe. Take a look at this news. It says, with at least 200 billion, pay attention, billion, not million, billion, 200 billion galaxies, galaxies, not planets, out there, and possibly even more, we are very likely talking about a universe filled with around 10 elevated to 24 planets. That's a lot of planets, only in the observable universe. That means this much of planets. Can you imagine? And those are only the planets we know. Those are the only planets that the science had a chance to take a look or to know they're there. There might be, and they're probably much more than this. Is it likely that only on this very small, silly, blue, tiny planet called Earth, there's life? Very unlikely, isn't it? If you take logic, statistic, very unlikely. So there might be other places, as it said on Spiritism. Q&A for reincarnation. How many lives, many lives or one life? How do you express yourself? Oh, in my lives. Have you heard about that? In my previous life. It's just a playing with the words, but I would say you have just one life, not many lives. You have one life when God created you as a spirit, and you have many experiences, many reincarnations, right? Because you're one. You are one spirit. In this life, I'm Alex. Next one, I might be Marsha. The other one, I might be Joseph. The other one, I might be Christina or something. So you keep changing. You're changing in the environment. You're changing the country you're living in. Sometimes you're ill. You are born with an illness. Sometimes you're born healthy. The other time you're born rich. The other time you're born poor. In a very developed country, in an underdeveloped country. So you can learn everything about everything, experiences. What's the purpose of incarnation? We've mentioned already. Speed up the process of learning. We have to learn everything about everything. It's wild, isn't it, to think about that? But we have time. Time is not a problem for the spirit. The spirit never dies. So we have plenty of time to learn everything about everything. In the process of the incarnation, can we choose? Can I choose where I'm going to reincarnate? Yes and no. If you are a more developed spirit already, you're wiser, then you might choose, because they trust you're going to have a good sense on choosing the experience you need to pass through. If you're not, if you're still in the early stages of incarnation, no, you're not allowed to choose what you want to do, because they know better. It's just like a child, a baby. The baby don't choose what he or she is going to eat or what he or she is going to wear. The mother or the father do choose for him. Same on the reincarnation process. If you're not well developed yet, they will choose and say, no. You're going to reincarnate. You're going to reincarnate like this, and that, because that's going to be good for you. It needs this experience, right? How many times do we incarnate or reincarnate? No one knows. Many. Doesn't matter anyhow. As much as necessary. It comes a time when the spirit doesn't need anymore this hustle of reincarnation, so you don't have to reincarnate any longer. Then you leave as a spirit, but it takes quite a while. Can we reincarnate as an animal? Aha, that's a good question, isn't it? That's one of the differences between us and the Buddhists. Spiritism says no. Humans do not reincarnate as animals. So your lovely animal that you think looks the looks, the eyes, is very much like grandma. Maybe it's grandma. No, it's not grandma. It's your dog. Humans do not incarnate in animals. We only go forward. Why don't we remember our previous incarnation? That's a very common question. But if I knew what I have done, it would be much easier. I could correct my errors from the past. I don't think so. What Spiritism says is the following. If you really knew who you were on the previous incarnations, you would be very ashamed of yourself. And you would probably not even be able to face the people you're facing today. Again, imagine the history of humankind. If we're the ones who raped, who killed, who tortured, who still stole the richness of other people, would be very difficult to be living in the same house with these people, wouldn't it? The relationship would be even harder. So better not to know. Start from scratch. But you have the feelings. Why do you like some people in the family, you don't like other people in the family? Why do you like some friends, you don't like other friends? That might be a tip for you, and that's where you have to work. Finally, let's enter the subject, death. How does Spiritism see death? I would say in a word that Spiritism does not seize death. How come? Because Spiritism does not believe we die. What dies is our body. This body is made of flesh, bones, material. This, as you start growing older, you lose your hair, you start have gray hair. The only left, the hair left are gray. So the body starts to deteriorate until it dies, until it finishes. But not yourself. You're not the body. You're the soul. You're the spirit. Let's see. So how does Spiritism see it? The body, being exclusively material, undergoes vicissitudes of the matter. After having worked for some time, it disorganizes and breaks down. The vital principle, finding no more support to its activity, is extinguished and the body dies. The spirit, to which the body deprived of life is now useless, leaves it, as one leaves a house in ruins or an old garment unfit for wearing. The body is therefore only an envelope destined to receive the spirit. So your body is just that. It's just your body. It's just like a clothes you're using. You use for a while, when it's useless, you leave and you keep going. Oh, then you get another body, a new one, brand new one, just like the baby we saw before. So what's the body? It's this. Once your body is used like that, it's useless. I mean, cannot hold your spirit anymore. You need a new body to keep working. So you leave the body here. That's the only thing that is. It's such a normal thing, such a common thing. We, maybe partially because of Hollywood, we see so many horror movies. We see so much people suffering when they die that we have an awful image of death. It's not. You better rethink your concepts of death. Spiritism says we are a three-party, let's put it this way. The body, you know, just look at your body. Flesh and bones and blood and everything. There's the pure spirit and there's the spirit. Let's talk about the spirit first. What is the spirit? You don't have a spirit. You are a spirit. That's what you are. We are spirits. We're not humans. Humans, you are when you have the body, when you're living here, but you're a spirit. The spirit is what we think, the experiences we have had, what you know, how smart you are, how intelligent you are. That's why there's difference on spirits, because you acquire experiences, you learn things, then you become more wise, more intelligent. That's the spirit. The body, you know, the body moves. The body is the instrument you use to deal with the environment while you're on Earth. And the perispirit is the thing between the two, is the link between the spirit and the body. Maybe you can compare like the spirit is the central intelligence of your computer, the intelligence of it. The body is the hardware, and the spirit would be the software. It makes the link between the two. Once you die, the only thing that dies is the body. That one goes back to whatever it belongs to. It's going to transform into other things. The spirit keeps together with the perispirit. The perispirit is always with the spirit until you're really well developed. So when a person that can see spirits see a spirit, what is he or she seeing? He or she seeing the perispirit that molds itself in the form of the old person, in the form of the body, right? So always the spirits go around using the perispirit. What happens when we die? The exactly moment we are dying, there's a body and soul separation. It starts, this design here is very nice, but not quite correctly. It starts from the feet to the head. Imagine that the connection between the spirit and the body is the perispirit. There's a link between holding the perispirit to the body. The perispirit is, let's say, linked together with the body. Imagine a shoes, one of those shoes that you use to play basketball, you know, the high ones. You cannot take your feet out of the shoes. To take your foot off the shoes, you have to open the lace and start separating the laces so it's a bit loosened. Then you can take your feet away, right? Very same thing happens when you die. Your perispirit is very much linked together with your body. If you're old, if you're ill, the energy in this link is much more loosened, it's much more less materialized. The vital energy there is minimum. So it's very easy for the laces to start opening from the feet to the head, and the spirit goes away, the perispirit goes away. That's what happens here. If you commit suicide, it's a different story, because there's plenty of energy there still. There's plenty of vital energy. And then you break that connection. That's going to be difficult, because this energy that's there is there for, say, for more 20 or 30 years, and you broke it before the time. But anyhow, the separation is like this. The body stays, and the spirit starts to go away once the link between them starts to be broken, let's say it this way. You certainly heard about near-death experience. That's not spiritism. Plenty of people have had an experience like that. I have a friend who did it. This friend of mine from Fortaleza, Ceará, in Brazil, he's not spiritist, he's Jewish. He said he had a heart attack, and he went to the intensive care immediately. It was an urgency. And he said while he was being taken into the operation room, he saw everything, just like if he was floating on top of his body, just like this picture. And then he heard everything. He heard the doctor saying about the operation that he needed 3 or 4 stents, something like that. And the stents were very expensive. And one doctor said to the anesthetist, go out and talk to his wife, see if we can put the stents. He followed the other doctor. He heard the conversation between the wife and the doctor, and he heard back. And then when he got back to the body, he told the doctors what he had seen, and he described the situation perfectly well. They were all shocked. That's near-death experience. The spirit is out of the body, but it's still linked. You see, there's a link between the body and the spirit here. And once he goes back here, he hears everything. The difference is on death, this link is broken, right? There's no more link. Then the spirit is free to go. There's a big question here. Do we suffer during the dying process? I've been given a lot of lectures on death as according to Spiritism in Brazil, all over. And after so many lectures, I learned that people are not afraid of dying. People are afraid of suffering. They don't want to suffer in the process of dying. Do we suffer? Yes or no? What do you think? It depends. Natural death and suicide, I've already mentioned, it's different. Natural death, you're in a proper time to live. There's not much more vital energy there. The spirit goes really easy, soft, and mild. You don't suffer. Suicide is a different matter. I have already explained to you. Let's talk a bit about suicide. It's a huge disease, and we should talk about it. You should talk about suicide with your children, with your relatives, with the elderly ones. There's plenty of suicide on older people as well. The science nowadays, the people who research suicide say different than the past. Today, they advise you talk about it. In the past, you're not supposed to talk because it would be giving the idea of the person to commit suicide. Not nowadays anymore. They say it's better to talk. So talk to your children, talk to your relatives about suicide. When a spirit commits suicide, in Spiritism, they say they go to the valley of the suicides. It's not a specific place. It's on the mind of the suiciders. After we die, we come together by how do you say, affinity, right? So suiciders will be suiciders together. How do you think is a place where there's thousands, maybe millions of people who committed suicide? Are they happy? Are they serene? Are they calm? Was there a solution to suicide? No, suicide is not a solution because you don't kill yourself. You kill your body, but you don't kill yourself because you're a spirit. And then on top of all the problems you had, you put another one, a big one. That's the suffering of suicide. He or she will come back again. We'll have another experience and another one and another one and another one. But it's something, it's useless. I mean, if you can avoid suicide, please do. Now, what about accident and torture? In accident, let's say a motorcycle accident, sometimes millions of seconds, just a fraction of a second before the accident, the spirit is taken away from the body. So the body suffers a lot, the spirit doesn't feel anything. Same with torture. Sometimes there's histories about people being tortured, and how can they hold the pain? I mean, they're being really very toughly tortured, and they're fine, because the spirit is away from the body. The body is suffering, the spirit's not. So when the spirit comes back, then it feels a bit. But so don't feel sorry for people who died in car crashes or motorcycle crashes or any accident. They very much likely did not suffer anything. They were taken away beforehand, for God's mercy. Abortion, euthanasia, that's a different story. Abortion, again, in Spiritism is very tough on abortion. It says, well, Spiritism does not prohibit you of anything. You do whatever you want. It's your problem. It's your responsibility. So if you do good, good for you. If you do bad, bad for you. That's it. That's the way we learn, right? So Spiritism does not forbid abortion, but says you should not do it. Why? Again, let's go back to the history of humankind. Let's say 3 people had the problem in the past. Now, they have been fighting for hundreds of years, for a millennium perhaps. And then they decide to come together to try to solve those problems. After a lot of negotiation, a lot of conversation, they say, okay, let's go together, let's make a family. And they come together. Then suddenly, when this third one is coming, they commit abortion. This guy who did not trust those 2, but decide to give a chance to this relationship, he is going to be very upset to say the minimum. Because it was the chance to see, they are not trustable people. I knew, I told you, they're awful. And then again, instead of solving the problem, you start having the problem again. It's going to be solved sometime. These people are going to incarnate together sooner or later, but it would be much better for sooner than later. Euthanasia. Euthanasia, we have to see there's 3 types of euthanasia. Euthanasia, dystanesia, and orthothanasia. I didn't know about the other 2. I just learned recently. Very interesting. Euthanasia is when you kill a person because you're feeling sorry for the pain that person is suffering. You give an injection or something and that person dies. Spiritism says you should not do that. Why? Because this person needs that time frame, whatever, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, to rethink his life, her life, and take good decisions for the future. Dystanesia is even worse. Is when the person needs to die, the body cannot hold the spirit any longer, the person is really bad, and you keep putting a lot of medicine, a lot of drugs, intubating, put oxygen, a lot of things to try to keep that person alive, which should not anymore be alive. So release the person. Don't be you the one who's going to hold the person there. Orthothanasia perhaps is the best option. Perhaps is the option Spiritism likes best, which is what? You keep the person as comfortable as possible, not suffering. Give everything that he or she needs to live the last few days or months of her life, his life, well. But you don't force a life that is just about to extinguish. Have you heard about this? A person is dying and starts to see relatives who have passed away before. It's quite common, isn't it? Oh, grandma's here. Oh, look, dad is there. Then people say, but dad is dead. Grandma is dead. 20 years she died. She passed away. This is quite common. Happened to me. I tell that on my book. My grandma, Ika, wonderful person. She was already kind of ill, but she was very smart. She was not hallucinating, anything like that. I went to her house to say goodbye. I was going to travel abroad. And then when I entered her room, my wife was there sitting on her bed, talking to her. And again, she was perfect. She was ill because she was old. She was 85, 87 or something. But she was perfect on her mind. And my grandma, my mother-in-law, not my grandma. My mother-in-law was looking on top of it. She said to me when I entered the room, she said, "Hey, Alex, those friends of yours are really nice people." I was shocked. My eyes were like this. My wife was like this. We said, "Ah, my goodness, she's seeing someone." I didn't see anyone. I don't know who those friends are, but she was seeing someone. And she wasn't even a spiritist. She knew very little about Spiritism. And she said that. For me, there was a proof that really spirits do exist. And these friends of mine came to her basically to say, "Ika, be cool, everything is fine. We're going to be with you when the times come for you to come back to real life, to come back to the Spiritist world." So that's why some people see dead people. But listen for a moment. If death is not such a bad thing, why are we afraid of dying? It doesn't make any sense if it's not something bad. Everyone is afraid of dying. No one wants to die. Again, I think part of that is what we watch on TV, on cinema, right? Which is not at all true. But take a look at what the Spiritist book says on question 730. Humans should try to prolong their lives to accomplish their tasks. That's why God has given them the instinct of self-preservation. The instinct sustains them through all their trials, without which they would often succumb to discouragement, meaning suicide. The inner voice telling them to prevent death also tells them that they might still do more for their advancement. Every danger that threatens them is a warning to profit from the relief God grants them. Opa, take a look at the last phrase here. Are we facing a danger nowadays? Very much so. COVID-19, right? So there is a message for us over there. Let's take the opportunity. We're here, we're incarnated. Let's profit from them. Let's do whatever is necessary to improve ourselves. Again, morally and intellectually. Let's study. Let's study our connections, our people. Let's try to be better husbands, wives, children, boyfriends, girlfriends, professionals, bosses, subordinates, everything. That's our chance. Wake up, right? That's what COVID is telling us. Wake up. Life after death. What happened once you die? Where do we go? Where do you think we go? The question 1012 on the Spiritist book says, are there in the universe any circumscribed places set apart for the joys and the sorrows of spirits according to their merits? What do you think? Yes or no? The answer is, the joys and the sorrows of the spirits are inherent to their degree of perfection. Each spirit finds the principle of that happiness or unhappiness in itself. As the spirits are everywhere, there's no enclosed or confined place to set apart for either one or the other. Aha, so we're happy or unhappy, whatever we are. That happens to us as incarnated as well, doesn't it? Take a look at the place where you work, for example. Now you work at home, but let's say in January or so. Some places at the place where you work, some people at the place where you work, they're very happy there. They think it's a wonderful job. People are nice. Okay. There's quite a few problems there, but it's all right. I'm quite happy. I like it. I like the place actually. Even the boss, I like him or like her. In the very same place where you work, there's other people who say, oh, this is awful. This is the worst place on earth. These people, they are all very obnoxious, very awful people, very tough, very unpleasant, they're gross actually. Same place, two different views. So you can make heaven or hell, whatever you are. Let's suppose heaven exists. What Spiritist book says about it? You must not assume that high spirits are absorbed in eternal contemplation, which would be an unwise and very, very, very monotonous happiness. In other words, would not be happiness, right? And furthermore, a selfish one, because their existence would also be of perpetual uselessness. What's the use of playing harp for all eternity? Awful, huh? They no longer undergo the tribulations of corporeal life, an exemption that is a joy in itself. So if you don't suffer, that's fine, that's good. As we said, they know and comprehend all things. They make use of the intelligence they have acquired in helping the progress of other spirits. They find great joy in this occupation, meaning for us to be happy, we have to use our intelligence to help others. And as we do so, we learn more and more and more. We become wiser. That's life. That's heaven, right? So if you want to be happy, here's your answer, how to be happy. Not buy another shoes. You have plenty of shoes, but perhaps you can do something for someone else and start doing within the walls of your house. Question. A person has passed away. She died. Is she resting now? Yes or no? Well, don't we say, oh, now she's dead, but at least now she's resting, right? No, she's not resting. No, he's not resting. No one rests. There's no, how to say, aposentadoria. There's no retirement after you die. Right? You keep working, but it's a wonderful work. You're working for your own progress. You're working for the progress of others. It's plenty of pleasure on that, right? So don't fool yourself. You're going to work forever. Ooh. Heaven and hell, do they exist? What do you think? Yes or no? We already know because the answer was beforehand, right? Heaven and hell. This is again question 1012 of the Spiritist book. Heaven and hell then, as people have imagined them, do not exist, do they? Answer is, they are only symbols. There are happy and unhappy spirits everywhere. But as we told you, spirits of the same order are together by sympathy. Opa, there's a clue there for us. Where do we go after we die? When they are perfect, they can meet whatever they like. When they're perfect. If you're not perfect, you're not allowed to meet whatever you like. We'll see that in a while. A fixed place for rewards and punishments exists only in the imagination of human beings. It stems from a tendency to materialize and define things of which he cannot grasp the infinite essence. So no heaven, no hell. he keeps forcing, but yeah, but from where does the theory of eternal hell, eternal fire originated? An image that has been taken literally, like so many others. There's no fire like you cook your meal. No, it's the fire inside, the fire on your mind, the fire that keeps you bubbling, burning, boiling all the time. But Kardec insists on the question and asks the spirituality, the high spirituality again. Okay, nonetheless, can this sphere lead to a useful result? Meaning, if people believe in hell, if hell really would exist, people would not refrain yourself, would not hold from doing bad. What's the answer? What do you think? Look around you and see whether there are many who are restrained by it, even among those by whom it's preached. If you teach what contradicts reason, the impressions you make are neither long-lasting nor advantageous. Just like this boy, we're laughing of hell because it doesn't make any sense. It's not logic. It doesn't make sense if you believe in God, and God is, again, the highest intelligence ever, the primary cause of everything. Right? Could not be. Doesn't make sense. But pay attention. We do create our own heaven or hell. Question 977 of Spirit's book. When we are in the spirit world, our entire past is revealed, and the good and the bad that we did is known. This is more or less that saying of the judgment, right? Because you see everything you have done. No one is judging you. You're judging yourself. You see the good and the bad you have done. Those who have done evil, who try to avoid their victims, do so in vain. They cannot escape their presence, and it's an atonement and a source of remorse until they atone for the wrongs they have done. Let's stop there for a moment. I believe it's not necessarily that people are there with this person who passed away, but it's on your mind. Everything is your mind. So you keep seeing the people you have not helped. You have done something evil to them, right? You keep seeing what you did and you regret what you have done. That's hell. You're going to live very badly in that time. Conversely, kindness and goodwill surrounds the spirit of an upright person. Why? Because he or she, this spirit, and spirit's not he or she, right? Is already in peace with itself because he's done what he should be doing to live a better life. He's done what all of us should be doing, which is good. While the soul of the wicked is prey to shame, regret, and remorse, the soul of virtuous enjoys perfect peace. Suffering, how do we suffer? What does suffering of inferior spirits consist? The sight of happiness of the other ones, envying the superiority of the other ones that are happy or not, feeling regret, jealousy, rage, and despair for the happiness of the other ones, or better saying, for the things that prevent you from being happy, being tormented by remorse and the more anguish because you wanted joys you're not having, and they're tortured by the inability to satisfy the cravings. Take a look at the yellow words: happiness, happy, happy, joys, cravings. That's the thing. We all want to be happy, but we don't know how to be happy. We think to be happy, I should steal something from you, steal this position on the company from you, lie about something that will benefit me and not benefiting you. Wrong. That's how we suffer. So we know how to suffer. If we know how to suffer, we know how to be happy. We know how to evolve. Again, that question, will we get together again? Are you going to meet your mother? Are you going to meet your grandpa, your grandma? Are you going to meet your husband, your son, your daughter? Are you going to meet your great friend that has passed away already? Yes or no? Most of people say, yeah, you're going to meet them. It's very nice to say that, isn't it? Because if you like, oh, it's going to be so good. Bad response to you, not necessarily. Spirits of the same order are together by sympathy. Remember that? So it's just like if you like classical music, there's a wonderful classical music radio there for you people in New York. It's WQXR. It's wonderful. Here it's from Brazil. If you like classical music, and suppose you don't like rock, you might like both, but suppose you don't, or you don't like folk music, you're going to be together with people who like classical. You're not going to be together with people who like folk music or pop music, right? Because each one goes with its group of people, similarities. So when you die, it's the same thing. You're going to meet the people that are more or less on the same level of development as yourself. Take a look at those two rooms. The one on the left is really neat, clean, beautiful. The other one on the right is, oh, what a mess. So many papers, so many things written, everything on the floor. It's a total disaster. Suppose the spirit which is responsible for the clean table on the left is already disincarnated, is already dead, is a spirit. And so is the other one on the right hand. Are they going to meet? Well, let me tell you. The one on the right, on the left one, suppose he or she is more developed, he can go and meet the other one. But the other way around, he cannot. The messy one, the completely confused one, cannot come to places where everything is proper and clean and in order. Why? Because this spirit is going to be making a big mess in this place. That's easy to imagine. It's like put an elephant on a store of glasses, of crystal glasses. It's going to be a total disaster. So again, say for example, my grandma, if she's here, this level of development, and I'm here, she can come and visit me. I cannot go and visit her. It's impossible for me because I would make a mess on where she is, right? So not necessarily going to meet your relatives. If you're in different levels, the one who is higher can meet the other one. Otherwise, no. Second thing, the one you love might be reincarnated again, here on earth or somewhere else. And third, spirits are not interested on very simple, silly things. Once you deincarnate, you want to pay attention to real important things. Maybe this person doesn't want to come and have a chat with you about sports, for example. Not interested. How can we deal with that? Funerals. When you go to a funeral, pay attention. Be wise. I mean, you don't have to feel really sorry. You don't have to fake that you said, but be respectful. Because many times, apart from the people from the family which are feeling probably sad, the spirit might be there. So be there if you don't want to be there. Don't start playing jokes or talking loud. Just respect the place. Going to the cemetery. Should we go to the cemetery to pray for the ones we love? Not necessarily. In the cemetery, there are only the ashes of that person. They're only the bones and the rest of the body. He or she, that spirit's not there or should not be there. There are some spirits in the cemetery, the ones that are really dizzy, don't know what they're doing. So it's not the best place to be. Having said that, is that a problem to go to the cemetery? No, not a problem. But again, you don't have to be there to be in contact with the people you love. By your mind, by your prayers, by your thinking, you can be in connection with them. Or the other question is, why me? Why exactly? I'm having a very bad illness, I'm going to die. Why me? Question is, why not you? Or the other way around. Why my son died? Why in my family? There's so many disgraces here. 3 of the people from my family died already. Or the COVID got once. Why me? Why not you? First, we all know we're going to die, right? If you don't know, I'm telling you, you're going to die again. We all die. Since we were born, we know we're going to die. As plants die, as animals die, as everything dies, the body dies. You don't die. So don't think it's only yourself. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Don't use that against you. The other question is, but why so young? He's just a young person. He was only 25 and he died, or 12 or 35. He was just flourishing to life. Take a look at what the gospel says. Get used not to judge what you cannot comprehend. Many times what appears bad to you is actually good. But your understanding is so limited that the grandiosity of the whole escapes your rudimentary senses. True freedom is found in the liberation of corporeal ties. Therefore, as long as you are on earth, you're captive. Rejoice instead of complainment when it pleases God to remove one of its children from this valley of misery. Is it not selfish to wish that he or she remains on earth to suffer with you? Let's go back to this. We don't know. We mix the whole thing. This is not real world. Real world is where you stay most of your time, which is the Spiritist world. So the person who died early, at an early stage, at early ages, was allowed to die earlier, was released from this place. And this is not the best place to be on the universe. Spiritism says Earth is a mixture between hospital, a prison, and a school. We're here to learn. We're here to heal. So it's a tough place. Again, misery is all over. So to go away from here is not a problem. It's to be free from the valley of misery, as the person says. To better understand that's very selfish to try to keep the person here. Imagine 2 people. two people are in jail. This one has done his sentence. He can go away. He's really happy. But his good friends are going to stay for, say, 5 or 10 more years. This one wants to go away. He's so happy he's going to move. And this one says, no, stay, don't go, don't leave me alone. I cannot live without you. This is selfish. This one can go to a better place. Not because you cannot go that you're going to hold the other one here. So be careful not to be the one who holds this person with you. Sadness is normal. After a person dies, of course, for a while, you're really sad. Even spiritists are, because suddenly the person who was with me is not here anymore. The lack of that person, this vacuum that suddenly happens, it's quite normal that you become sad. But exaggeration of sadness for too long or for too deep is a problem. Because other people need you around you. The other people from your family needs you. The other children of your family, if one of your child died, they need you as well. Your husband needs you, your wife needs you, your father, your mother, they all need you, and you need yourself. So, okay, to be sad for a while, but do not exaggerate that. It's not good for you, and it's really bad for the person who passed away. Why? Because if she or he sees you, and very often they do, very bad, very sad, this person is not going to go away because he doesn't want you to be sad. He's okay, but you cannot see that he or she is okay. So he or she will be with you, trying to calm you. And it's a whole big mistake because he or she is not ready to be there to consolate you. He or she has to go and take care of his or her life. You should take care of yourself. You should restore your life as it was before. Don't feel pity for the one who died. We often say, oh, poor her, she died. She lost for that illness. She didn't lose anything. Don't feel sorry. The person is released from a very tough place. Not accepting the death of someone, not accepting your own death, anger. That's quite common and quite bad as well because it doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help you, it doesn't help the other one. You're only wasting your time. Regret, remorse, guilty. Quite common. I should have said something to her and now she passed away, I didn't. I should have said I love my mom. I should have helped this person. We had a fight just one day before she died, and now she's dead. What do I do? Calm yourself. Life goes on. So through your prayers, you can talk to this person. But don't pray like, oh, sister, now that you're in side by side. You go, no. Talk to her, talk to him, just like you did before. It was your brother, your mother, your father, your spouse. It's the same person. Talk to him, to her, say, I'm really sorry. I regret what I did. We should have discussed better, etc. That's the way you do. People say, oh, she lost her daughter. She lost her husband. He lost his father. We don't lose anything. Actually, there's not a loss. I think it's St. Francis or it's, who is it? One of those thinkers from the past says, you should, Seneca certainly does, you should face the time you've been together. It was a wonderful time. You didn't lose anything. I mean, there's no loss, there's nothing lose on that. On the last Mother's Day, I wrote a kind of an article about my mom. And I was saying, my mom passed away about 3 years ago. I said, I don't miss my mom. I don't regret that she's dead. And don't take me wrong, I love my mom a lot. And she loves me, I'm sure. But why I don't miss my mother? Because I have everything with me. She left everything that's important with me. The only thing I don't have here is the body. I cannot touch her, I cannot kiss her, and she cannot kiss me. But that's the minimal thing. I mean, all her way of seeing life, she was a very, she loved nature, she could see God everywhere, she loved people, she loved herself, she loved all the others. Her views of life were wonderful, and I still have that with me, so it's just like she was here. Not that I desire her to be with me as a spirit, that's bad. She has to move herself, and that's fine. But our love is together. I didn't lose anything. Do not hold the dying. It's common to say, no, go, stay. No. When the person is dying, sometimes the person is having a hard time to leave. You should say, listen, we love you very much. Our life together is excellent and was excellent. But if it's time for you to leave, please feel free. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to miss you because I like you. But it's okay. It's just part of life. So go on. You should release the person. Because if you hold the person there, he or she then is going to suffer. Because it's time to go. And sometimes we're holding that person there. There's plenty of cases like that. Don't be yourself the person who's going to hold that person here. Don't fear her. It's your mother. As she passed away, you start feeling, you said, no, I don't fear my mother, but please don't come during the night. Let's keep the light on. No, No, it didn't change. I mean, you've been watching too much TV, too much of those awful, bad people. That doesn't exist. It's just like yourself and myself. We're spirits. We're the same. Don't fear spirits. There's no reason for you to fear anyone. Some people say, well, if you're feeling sad after someone died, just travel. Travel and you're going to be fine. No, because you can travel if you want to, but it's not the solution because it's on your mind. You take all the problems with you. You have to solve the problems within yourself. Psychography, have you heard about it? It's people who are receiving like, oh, I want to know how my grandpa is. Oh, my husband died last week. I want to see, let's see if I go to a medium, see if he or she can write a letter from the deceased one. Don't do it. Don't do it. Unless there's a very big reason for you to do. Just for curiosity, I would say don't do it. The chances that playful spirit or a spirit with bad intentions or not very wise spirit will come and say, hey, here's your grandpa, how's life? You should do this, this, and that. You might be fooled with this. So no need. All you need to know is that life is wonderful. The person you love might be good. You can send a lot of good vibes for this person, wishing that he or she is doing well, takes care of his life, send your love to this person all the time. That's good enough. Can we ask one relative of ours who died to help us in a situation? Yes, you can, of course. You can do whatever you want. Is it proper? No, it's not at all. Why not? Because if you ask, say, you ask your mother to come and help you, you're having a hard time with your spouse, you have a lot of fights, life is really tough. And so, oh, mother, if you could, please come, I don't know, come and help me here. If you were here, it would be so wonderful. Mom says, Opa, woohoo, he's calling me, let's go down. And mother comes to your house, to your bedroom, in the middle of the relationship between the two spouses. And she loves you so much. So she's going to be totally pro you, totally against the other one. It's a total mess. So don't ask anyone that you know about helping yourself. You want to ask help, ask on your prayers for God to help you. Or the good spirits, or Jesus. Those guys, they're ready to help you. They're away from the situation. They have knowledge. They are wise, much better than a person that's not wise. Remember, when we die, we don't change. We don't become super spirits just because we died. We're the same after we died. Now, a very up-to-date, Jussara even mentioned on the beginning, death from COVID-19. COVID-19 just happened the other day. It's a huge surprise. No one could predict it, or maybe some people did, but no one paid attention to that. And what is it? How does the Spiritism see it? Spiritism talks about scourges. I'd say that scourges. No? How does it see it? Do you think it's God's punishment? Some people do think God is really punishing us for all the evil we've been doing. Or maybe it's the evil attack. Maybe if the devil exists and the devil is doing all this, how does the Spiritism see it? Spiritism says, first, devil does not exist, ever, period. And God does not punish anyone. God rules the entire universe through its laws. And this is just natural. What's happening is nature. We, now science saying, we have invaded the nature, and the viruses who were there came in contact with us, and we are suffering from that. It's going to happen again and again and again if we keep invading forests, if we keep living the life we're living with so much excess of consumption, so much garbage, so much pollution. Having said that, what Spiritism says is those stops, when we really pull the brakes, it's a good time for us to say, whoa, wait, what's going on? What type of life am I having? Is this the good life? Is this the life I should be having? Right? If we're reincarnating, what are we doing with our reincarnation? You should think about that. Think from the time you were born until now. Are you happy with what you did? Is your life good? When you pass away and you review what you have done, what are you going to say? We're going to say, oh, it was a good life. I didn't do everything I should do, but I did very well. I really proved it. I'm happy with myself. Actually, it was good. Or you're going to say, well, yeah, it was okay. It wasn't bad. I didn't do much bad. Or you're going to say, oh, it was a total disaster. I didn't do anything I want to do. It was a waste of time. I didn't take advantage of this excellent opportunity, which is reincarnation. Remember, we have to do good. Not to do harm is not enough. You have to do good. That's what Spiritism says. So this is a good time when we're all kind of having a difficult situation, a different situation to think about ourselves and try to change the world. And Spiritism talks about that. Spiritism, again, was written 160 years ago, the books. And they were talking about the change of quality from Earth. So remember, I told you about the different qualities of the globes. Earth is changing from one stage to the other one. At this stage, mean, selfish, immature spirits are leaving Earth to more primitive worlds. Every single day, some people who are dying are not coming back into Earth. That's not a problem. I mean, they're not going to be allowed here anymore for what I explained before. We're going to change. We're going to be a better place to live. And these people who are really tough on doing bad, doing very selfish, just wanting to do what's good for them, they won't have a room anymore. So they are not going to live here anymore. Not everyone who is living on COVID-19 are not going to come back to Earth. I'll explain them in a minute. There you go. Spirits commit to good, they are allowed to stay. So many people who are leaving now, they'll come back. Not all, but many of them will. As long as you are committed to improve yourself, that's good enough. If you're not coming back. But at this time, when there's massive disincarnation, massive death, many of them are going to be taken away. And also, new spirits, new quote unquote, actually very experienced spirits, very old spirits who are wiser are coming to Earth. Kind, generous, and more mature spirits are incarnating on Earth. So it's just like a glass of water. If you have a dirt water, keep pulling clean water, the water becomes cleaner, cleaner, cleaner until it's completely clean, right? That's what's happening now. When that started a while ago, how long is that going to last? I don't know. But the important thing is Earth becomes a world of regeneration. So we are seeing already, if you pay attention to the children of your family, they're already more developed spirits. It's amazing how children nowadays, very soon, at very early stages, they're very smart, very intelligent, very brilliant. And when they go older, they don't accept many things, many immoral things that previous generations accepted. That's the change of the quality on Earth. Q&A of death. What happens to children when they die? Children are not children. Children are spirits. Nothing different. They just go back and come back and do as others do. How does Spiritism see the donation of organs? Very good. Once you die, please donate everything. Before you die, please donate everything. If you can, please be a blood donator. If you can, please be how do you call the spine thing? Can't remember that. Donate that thing as well. Donate whatever you want. You don't need your cornea, you don't need your heart, you don't need your lungs, you don't need anything when you die. Please donate, someone is going to benefit from that. How does Spiritism see cremation? No problem at all. You don't need the body's going to come back to nature, so doesn't matter. Some tips, real quick here. Understand, if you want to deal better with life, understand that dying is just part of life. Nothing different, just one stage of your huge eternal life. If you do understand that, and it's a matter of thinking about it, talking about it, it will be better. Be careful with attachment. If you're attached to something here, that's when you suffer. If people, I don't want to go, I don't want to die because I'm too young, I love life, I love my wife, I love my husband, I love this, I love my children, I love my job, I love my company. It took me a lot of time to create this wealth, and I want to benefit from it. Anything, any attachment that keeps you here is going to make you suffer. So use the things you have, including the love. Love is not attachment. The person you love is another person, it's not yourself. Don't be attached to it, or you're going to suffer when you die. Remember that dying is a freedom, it's a break from suffering. Review the concept, review. I know you like living, so do I, everyone does like, but review your environment. It's very important to talk about death. Talk about death with everyone, including the children, because the child might die before you. Normally we think the older one dies before, the ill dies before the healthy, not necessarily. So to talk about death, as we're doing now, is very important. Comprehension. The more you understand, the less surprised you're going to be. Reconciliation. Jesus said, before you make your offer, go back and reconciliate to your enemies. Love your enemies, love your friends, love your family. If you're having trouble with someone, try to break your ego and go back and reconciliate. Because after you die, it's always possible, but more difficult. And that's why you're here as well, by the way. Say it now. We don't say we love people. I mean, Americans do a lot. They say, oh, I love you too. No? But I mean, do mean it. Demonstrate your love. If you have a hard time saying, don't say it, just demonstrate. Touch the person, Who doesn't like a feet massage? We love it. Make a feet massage to someone in your family. Bring a cup of coffee. Say, oh, your hair looks nice today. You're beautiful. Whatever you say, as long as it's sincere, of course. It's wonderful. We love to be loved. And do it now, because you might not be around tomorrow, right? Learn to live your life without her, without him. We are our best friends and our worst enemies as well. We have to learn how to live by ourselves, because once you're a good friend of yourself, you're enough. I mean, it's not ego, but you don't need anyone to live. So when someone else departs prior to you, you're fine, because you have your life, you have yourself, you have everything. Right? Don't put all your values on someone else. Praying, should we pray? Yes, we should pray. You should pray, but with your own words. Don't have to pray like, don't just say something you have decorated. Concerning people who died, don't ask them to come. We already said that, right? Ask them to be good. Oh, I hope you're doing well. I hope you pay attention around you and develop yourself. I mean, I love you. I remember that time when we went to this place, was wonderful, blah, blah, blah. But I wish you're there. You're fine. You find good company. You're learning a lot. We're going to meet perhaps in the future again. It's just a conversation like that. Right? Send your love to this person. But do remember them. They like it. It's good. Candles and flowers. Do we need it? No. If you like flowers, I love flowers. I have flowers in my house, plenty of flowers here. Fine. But you don't have to take flowers to the grave. You don't have to put candles to illuminate the person. I mean, airplanes need lights to take off. Spirits don't. If you want to, fine, but not necessarily. Belongings. Spirit doesn't need anything, so donate everything that you want. I mean, if you want to keep a picture, if you want to keep a pen, I have, for example, a typewriter that belonged to my dad. I love it. So I have some things here as well. No problem. But don't get attached to that. Don't, the smell of the person. Oh, the bedroom is just like it was when he disincarnated, when he died. No, good. Because if you keep it like that, it's a memory for the person as well to come back. No need. Just charity. Give it to someone else who's going to use it. Be ready, because you're going to die. We're all going to die. Yes, we are again. I'm ending my presentation here to say the following. To die is not the end. To die is not to lose. You should have that in mind. And the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 3 says, in a hospital, we only see patients and disabled persons. In a galley, we see all the turpitudes and all the vices united. In unhealthy places, most inhabitants are pale, frail, and sickly. Well, imagine the earth as a suburb, a hospice, a penitentiary, an unhealthy place. For it is once all of that, and it will be understood why afflictions prevail over enjoyments. For one does not send those who are well to a hospital, or those who have done no harm to houses of correction. And neither hospices nor houses of correction are blissful places. So this is not a blissful place. This is not a good place. So have that in mind. It's not a problem to leave Earth. It's not a problem. Don't suffer because you're going to die. Don't suffer because someone you love died. Be glad. Be glad to life. Be glad to God. Be glad that you were together. Be glad that you love this person. This person loves you. That's the important thing. That's the way we should understand death. In essence, friends, death is freedom. I mean, you don't have to die immediately. Now we have to be here. We have to be during this time of reincarnation. We need to be here, but see that it's a freedom from many difficult things. And what really matters, I end with this thought: what do you want in life? Do you really want to live long? When my dad and my mom, they were 97, my father and my mother was 93 or so. When I say that to friends of mine or people at work, they say, oh, what a blessing. Oh, how good that they are so old. I said, no, the opposite. It's not good. I mean, it's past the time they should have been gone. And they agreed. They didn't want to live that long because it's not comfortable. The body is not in good shape any longer. So you don't have to be here too long. To live a long life is not what matters. What matters then? What do you want? What really matters? A long life or a good life? We should all aim a good life. And a good life is a useful life, is a life that we use the time we're here to join, to be good with everyone else, to promote good around ourselves and within ourselves. And then with this last slide, I thank you so very much for the conversation. I love to be with you. Thank you so much for your attention. And I get back to Jussara. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex. We have been having wonderful feedback about your talk. And well, to me, the question would be, I would love to have a good long life.
You're going to have a good long life forever and ever.
Yeah. So we have some questions for you, and João is going to be displaying them. So the first one is from Maria Rodriguez. Can a spirit go from worlds of trial and atonement directly to celestial divine worlds, or at least directly to blissful worlds?
Spiritism says that nature does not jump. You have to go step by step, step by step. So answer is, unfortunately, no. Some people believe that paying some money, giving some things to someone, I'm going to guarantee my place on earth, doesn't exist. You have to conquer. I believe, Maria and Jussara, that the way we go is not like an escalator. It's just like a regular stairs. You have to force yourself to go up. It's a lot of hustle. But the good thing is, the ones who are upper in the stairs, they give you the hands and they pull us. And we pull the ones behind us as well. So there's solidarity between them. So a short answer is no. We have to go step by step, and that's fine. We're going to be learning a lot. It's just like if you go from elementary school to postdoc. It's impossible. There's plenty to be learned in between.
Yeah, we wish it could be possible, right? Of course, from our perspective, I think it is always what we are trying to find in life, a shortcut. And I think from the talk he has just given to us, we learned that there are no shortcuts in life, but we can speed the process if we actually do what we have to do. So let's see another question from Marcia. Can you elaborate more about a time of death, the disengaging of the body starts at the feet? Why at the feet?
Marcia, I have no idea. I would guess, and it's just a guess, that perhaps because the mind is on our head, but maybe that's the last part. I have no idea. The thing is, when we are dying, friends of ours and specialized teams of spirits come together to help us on taking these laces out. And I think the basketball shoes is a good example. If it's really tight, you cannot take your feet out. So you have to loosen it. And when the body starts to become cold, the spirit's already out of there, right? But it's not suddenly, unless on suicide. The suicide is sudden. Normally it's very small, and we're always going to be helped by these friends of ours who are together.
Mm-hmm. We have another question. Why do some spirits, when they die, stay here? Others go to lower zones, and others go to nice colonies like No Solar?
Ana Rosa, I have a problem with No Solar. I have a problem with Umbral. Not that I don't believe they exist. I don't care about them. It's a very personal view. I care about Kardec. And Kardec was clear. Kardec says they go by similarities, by taste, by affinity, right? So I try not to localize physically. Oh, it's on No Solar. Oh, it's in Colonia something, on this place, on that place. I think that doesn't help us to have a view. Much more because many of us do good here, saying, well, I'm doing good because I want to accumulate some points so I can go to No Solar, I can go to a better colony. We should not do good for that. We should do good because it's good. It's good for us first. It's good for everyone else around us. It's good for humanity in a sense. But why do some stay here? Because we're ignorant, because we don't study things, because we don't know anything. The more we study, the more illustrated we become about everything, about life, about death, about the spiritual world. We see that it's useless. We should not stay here. Having said that, let me tell you a personal experience. My sister-in-law, which I didn't meet, she died before I married my wife. She was a single mother, and she had 2 children. The boy was 4 and the girl was 2 when she was hit by a car and she died. and they were raised by my mother-in-law and by my wife and her sisters, and now they're 40, almost 46 or 48 and 46. And during many years, when I was at the Núcleo Espírita in Brazil, one day a spirit came to me, talking to me, and identified itself as being my sister-in-law. She said, this was when they were about, the boy was about 14 or 16 already. So for all those years, she said she was side by side with them, taking care of the children, because she was very worried about the children. Of course, a mother, a single mother that passes away, leaves a child of 2, a child of 4. Do you think she's going to go away and say, oh, no problem. Now it's not my problem anymore. Let me take care of my life, and someone takes care of the children. No, she was there, and she said every single night she came and kissed the boy and the girl. Then she realized when she was when they were 14 or 12, that was not good. She was actually making them a bit sad, because her presence was unbalancing the relationship. Was not good for her, was not good for them to be there. And she was educated, and she left, but the love didn't leave. They still love each other a lot, but she's not there anymore, and that's fine. So all to say, we should learn not to be here. Concerning the, how do you call the place she said, the
lower zones, zones, the nosolar,
and now the other
umbral.
Umbral, forgot the name.
Yes, and the lower zones we call lower zones. Yeah.
Right. The umbral, for me, it's like a hell. People need to design a place where everyone is suffering. Again, we are together by affinity. If we're assassins, we'll be together with assassins. If we're people who torture people, we'll be together with people who torture people. We are by affinity. So I'm sure there are places like that. But I don't like to design them as places one could be. You're not going to be there if you don't deserve to be in that place. Actually, as a matter of fact, you're going to be where you deserve to be.
Okay, so we had other questions, but I think it's about time for us to end our presentation, and we are very grateful once more for all the the wonderful teachings you brought. I'm sure many people benefit a lot from this clear view that you gave about many important points that we have concerning Spiritism. And always when we are talking about Spiritism, we are talking about ourselves. And for all those that have lost their loved ones, please receive our sympathies, and remember that our prayers always are going to help in this process, for us to find balance, for them to find more understanding, whatever they are, and for us to be connected together. Because as Alex always said to us during his presentation, we never lose our loved ones. The only thing that are going to be happening with us is strengthening our ties even more. The more we stay together, the more we connect with each other. So with that in mind, we thank you so much, all of you that have been here with us in the broadcasting. Next week, we will not have our regular broadcasting, because it's 4th of July, a very important holiday here. Although the holiday we're going to probably be staying at home, but it's still, we wanted to respect that, not having a presentation. But the following week we will have our friend Daniel Rossi that is going to be talking to us here. So July 11, we will be back with this series of talks at 11 by the United States Spiritist Federation. And we are very grateful for all the spirits that have helped us, that have assisted us during this presentation, and thanking for this opportunity. And may we be together again in 2 weeks' time.